that good? Is that right? Right guys, welcome to today's video. So this is episode 2 of Dice for DnB. So today I'm going to basically just do a training video, also with a quick update on what changes I've made to my diet and why I've made them, so where you guys can get a rough idea of what indicators you can look for to make changes in your diet when you're in potentially an off season or in a cut. Both indicators obviously will be like, there'll be some that are more specific to cutting and more specific to bulking, but anywho, let's crack on with the video today. I'm about to go to Costa, get my studying done, and then after that we will talk through the changes made to diets. Then I'm going to be training Push+Arms, and I'm going to be doing it, well, I'm not training directly with him, but I'll be training with Kai, so it'll be good to have a good spot there and get some good motivation going, because training with the boys is the one. So today we are 7 weeks out from Barcelona. Let's get it. Right, so just finished studying, currently in town. So just thought I'd give a quick explanation of the changes I've made to my diet. So obviously I'm on week 2 now, and to say, so I started off on obviously on a meal plan versus macros, just because I find a meal plan's a lot easier to make like cuts away from certain obviously areas, obviously like 10 grams of rice here, 10 grams of rice there. So initially I was doing 140 grams of, well, so training days was 1.5 bagels, and then 3 times 140 grams of rice raw weight with 30 grams of butter per meal, and that came to roughly about like 500 milliliters of juice and hot chocolate. So that was around 450, 60 carbs, something about that, and then about 110 grams of fat with 200 grams of protein. So from that I cut away 10 grams of rice again from all my meals, and that's all I've done so far on training days. And then rest days I've dropped away a lot, so now I'm only doing 120 grams of rice 3 times on rest days. So I'll pop it up on screen just so it makes it a bit easier than me trying to explain it all, because I'm doing a really bad job at this. But basically, to explain the changes I've made, so last week, let me get my Happy Scale app up. So last week when I started the diet would have been, where is it? Yeah, so I was 181.8 pounds. So from there, even though I dropped food, I then basically proceeded to gain up to 183.2 pounds. So I jumped about 1.4 pounds. I then held that again the next day. I then jumped up another 0.8 pounds. So at that point I was 184 pounds, which is I'm pretty sure was an all-time high weight of this off season, even though I dropped food. Weird. Anyway, so then after that I then proceeded to then start to go down. So I was like, alright, cool. So I dropped down to 182.1. So that was basically a 1.9 pound drop. And then I dropped that down again to 181.8, which is what I started at about, what had been just over a week later. Well, no, just under a week later. And then basically for the last 4 days I've been sat at 182.6 pounds. So the key here is now just to be patient. I don't want to jump the gun and make changes too early, because for all I know, tomorrow my weight could just drop. Because generally when you have a consistent weigh-in of the same amount for a good few days, generally that means a big weight drop will come, or weight shift will come. That happened to me on my last prep, so I kind of know what to look for. So obviously come Monday though, if there's been obviously no changes or not enough change, I'll drop more food. But however, I think I'm going to start cardio next week. This week I was on formally on 10,000 steps, so, and again that's done absolutely nothing. So next week 3 times 20 minutes of cardio will be put in, probably fast in the morning, just because I like the routine of doing faster cardio. But yeah, so that's kind of an idea of why I've made the changes. So weight's been the exact same, if not enough drop, even though 10,000 steps have been put in with food drop. So we're now going to put cardio in regardless next week, as we're now approaching the 6-week mark. So yeah, we're running out of time-ish, but key is to be patient, do not jump the gun, look for the signs and make logical decisions. Obviously I'm surrounded by people who know what they're doing as well, so I'm bouncing off ideas off them, making sure I've got a second eye and they all agree with me the same. So gonna now go and have pre-workout meal, and then I'll probably talk through a bit more of what changes I've made or things to look for when doing your bulking and cutting, and then we'll head to the gym to train. So see you guys in the next clip. Well, fuck. Right, so about to go and get Kai. He lives on the way to my house now because he's moved house. So I'm gonna go grab him. I'm gonna go get a session. Got a new pre to try, so got the new Mega Pump from Conte Sports. So I've been hearing a lot of good things about this, so I'm gonna give this a go, see if this is any good. And yeah, let's go and get Kai. Oh my god, that is amazing. Wait, is that gonna focus? There we go. Look at you, slag.
How are we?
We're pretty good.
This is coming down Afghan Lane, fella.
This is Afghan Lane.
Afghan Lane.
Jesus Christ, hold on, focus.
Hello, mate. Ooh, how are we?
Right, so we just got to the gym, so picked up Kai, obviously, as you've seen. So today's session is going to be push-and-arms, so I'll put the workout on screen as I go, but it'll be single arm cuff laterals, incline dumbbell press, flat cable press, lying cuff laterals, tricep push-downs, single arm tricep extensions, easy bar curls, superset with long rope extensions, and then finishing with, going back to chest and finishing with incline cuff fly, so should be decent. Yeah, and I'll grab some posing at the end, obviously, as usual. So yeah, let's crack on. I went for him. There you go. So one quick tip when you're doing any kind of cuff lateral raise or any kind of lateral raise in general, do not focus on getting height. The main cue you want to be doing is spreading wide and spreading as high as you can. So instead of going here, spread wide. The wider you go, the more you recruit the side delt, as that is the purpose of it. The more you focus on going too high, the more trap you'll use. So obviously we want to isolate the side delt, so spread wide, not high.
Easy, Ted. Let's go. Good, easy. Every repetition, good. Let's go. Let's go. Control, right, yes. Yeah. Good. Come on, stay tight. Stay tight. Good. Go again. Easy. All day. All day. Good. Big drivers. Up. Yes, good, more, come on, up, yes, good, big drive, up, get it, come on, get those elbows in, lovely.
Alright, so that concludes incline dumbbell press. So after I did 30s for 15, with the second set being more continuous tempo and cadence, like a 1 second down, 1 second up kind of thing. Now moving on to flat cable press. So I put the jumper back on just simply because the cable wires will rub against my arms and absolutely rip the shit out of them. So the jumper's back on. And then something else I've recently incorporated into this cable press is, as you can see, these rubber handles, which are like the fat grips. So the fat grips will basically allow us to have more surface area to press, but for whatever reason just feels a lot nicer. Almost giving it the feel of like that nitro, Nautilus nitro press, so which is really nice. So gonna get into top set on this, which will be almost a full stack. And yeah, let's see how we do.
Yeah? Yeah. Come on in. Let's get it. Let's get it. Big drive. Oh, easy. All day long. All day long. Let's go. In. Yes, again. Right. Yes, come on. Get it. More. Come on. Big squeeze. Try. Come on. Finish it.
Right, so a little unknown fact about intro workouts. In terms of intro workouts for your EAA specifically, you shouldn't actually be ingesting your EAAs from the start of your workout. We actually want to allow some kind of muscle protein breakdown to occur before we introduce EAAs, just simply because we don't let the breakdown process start, the recovery and the healing process won't be as efficient, if that makes sense. So when we start to break down muscle protein, it releases signaling into the brain to create protein synthesis and then obviously to send aid to the muscle. If we start drinking EAAs, basically we start almost the recovery process potentially too quick. I might have worded that quite badly, but the fact stands, probably start drinking your EAAs probably about halfway through your session, if not maybe just a bit after. Obviously these are the small 1% you can do to add to your programming and your general training. They're not necessarily no necessity. I'm not saying you drink your EAA straight away, you're not going to gain absolutely any muscle, but it is something you should be aware of if you are trying to get this 1% like I am and trying to go to pro card. So there's a little tip for you.
Come on, easy. Good, go again. Get it. Right, yes, easy. Good. More. Drive. Yes. Come on. Get it. Yes, again. Come on.
Right, so that concludes the session. Good session, actually very, very good. That contest or Contosport Mega Pump is actually very good. But for me, Push+Arms is like an easy pump to get. So the real test will be Friday when I've got pull with the boys. And then, yeah, we'll see on a scale of 1 to 10 how good it is. But so far, very good, and I would recommend. So overall, very good session, said. Numbers flew up. This is my second week after taking a deload. So the first week after taking a deload, you might find it takes you're a bit stuck in the mud, but then the week after you should start flying. That's what happened today. Things flew, and I ended up beating a lot of numbers, which I didn't think I was going to, which is good. So yeah, so any kind of talking points I can think of. So yeah, so steps, I don't know if I mentioned it yet, but steps are now formally at 10,000 this week, within the introduction of cardio next week. Regardless of how much my weight moves, I want to get cardio going at 6 weeks out, because 6 weeks is a nice length of time to do cardio. And yeah, so food is, I don't know, again, I think I probably touched on it earlier, but we've made a drop in food. Let me see if I can get up a rough calorie drop of how many calories have been dropped. So it's been about a 400 calorie drop, obviously, which is significant. So currently at eating about 3,400 calories right now, from 3,800. So yeah, it's a nice little drop again. Again, it's needed. I'm trying to be very patient, and I'm trying not to jump the gun and make day-to-day changes, because before, when I was doing weekly check-ins with the coach, obviously I'd have to wait for my results, versus obviously when you're getting day-to-day check-ins, you can make decisions on the shot, well, on the spot. So right now, just trying to make sure I stay patient, wait until Sundays, and then obviously when I wake up on Monday, depending on what the change is, if there is any change, I can then make obviously adjustments where need be. But yeah, so signs for obviously for again, as I said, like kind of I said earlier, I keep saying like I said earlier, but it is what it is. Head's scrambled right now. So yeah, so signs that you need to drop food in your cart, scale where it's not moving, is kind of like the main one. That's kind of like the main indicator. And that's especially for the first I think I was just listening to Josh Bridges' podcast. So for the first 70% more or less, you have to worry about scale weight dropping, and that's kind of the main thing. Obviously, there is obviously going to play a part with the look. You'll see a lot more change in 8 weeks in a cut than you will 8 weeks in a bulk in terms of the look. So keeping an eye on your weekly check-in pictures is also key, and also taking measurements as well. So making sure your measurements, especially if you're trying to grow, making sure your measurements are increasing, but not your waist too much. So we don't want to be gaining the belly fat, but not anywhere else. So yeah, and then a sign obviously to increase food in a surplus would definitely be to, one, appetite is still good, and you've been on it for a while, and your weight is stopped moving. If your appetite is still good, move it up. One thing I've been trying to do this off season is preserve my appetite, because that's the one thing I think that really got behind, it really slowed down my progress towards the end of my last off season, which is because I couldn't eat any more food. I bottomed them out very, very quickly. So trying to stay on top of appetite by doing steps and that kind of stuff is also a big deal, and also managing your carbs and fat ratios. Enough carbs to slow digestion down and keep your insulin sensitivity a little bit higher, and your resting blood glucose a bit higher, but obviously not to the point where it's causing indigestion and you're struggling to get food in. One of the things I definitely have done this off season, which has been very good, was get my fats up to 110 grams. The main reason for that is, one, it makes food more palatable, and two, now I've got tons of calories to take away this cut without having to dig into many carbohydrates. Like, my carbs probably on training day won't go very low at all, and the rest day probably not even that low at all, because I've got so much fat to cut away. I've got so many grams of fat to cut away from. Realistically, I've started on 110 grams fat, and I'll probably be about 50 to 70 fat by the end. So you think, and obviously 1 gram of fat is 9 calories, so again, lots of food to take away without discouraging performance. So yeah, so I'm gonna wrap up the video there. Hope you guys enjoyed. I think it's been a slightly short one today, which I'm glad for. And yeah, so that's episode 2 of Dice for DnB. Episode 3 will be a big one, because we've got K9 this Friday with the boys. Should be a fucking sick one. I'm very excited. And yeah, catch you guys later. Share with a fellow cunt, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I'll see you guys in the fucking next one. Peace.